see which of them can get their hands on it in this draft. If either of them, we are jumping in hot. Saigon Buffalo on the blue side. 0-7 eliminated from knockouts contention, but still, firstly, can play Kingmaker, and secondly, can still challenge the best. We saw them almost take down RNG earlier today.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Ari taken away from Froggy, because my word, the fact that he was able to get so many of those crucial charms was absolutely insane. But we'll have to see with the standard Lucian Wukong on red side, it's going to be the Lee Sin and the Nocturne, so a lot of jungle pressure going towards Juhan in this jungle, especially with the Viego now gone as well.
And we'll see what Juhan wants to do on this jungle pick, because the thing is, there are still like the second tier of junglers, right? You can still go down to things like the Xin Zhao that we have already seen, or even something like the Poppy if you're looking to specifically counter. Graves still there as well, as you say. So perhaps Saigon are looking for something specific. Perhaps they just want to shut down that mid jungle synergy from PSG.
Yeah, I'm curious though, because if you still want to go back over towards like taking the Ari, then which I assume is going to come through here, and you can always go for something like the Graves to pair alongside it, like still an incredibly strong combo. And look, it is going to be the Ari. So now I feel like for PSG, right, you probably want to take away some of these big junglers and make sure that you're not kind of just giving across like a strong mid jungle across the Saigon Buffalo, and then they can play the exact same game they played against RNG.
Definitely an option here for PSG to try and limit that ball. And there's the Graves that you were talking about, Dector. On point with it. PSG, of course, if they win this, tie up with G2 in 5th spot in MSI, something I don't think many people would have been expecting after day 1 and day 2. But that is the state of affairs right now. Saigon Buffalo still looking for their first win here in the Rumble stage.
All right, so I mean, I'm kind of looking at a mid lane pick here, probably coming through, like something like the LeBlanc that we've kind of seen come through quite a bit into this matchup. We've had Zoe as a counter, even the Vex has come through quite a bit, but we'll have to see what Bay wants to decide to go for here. It feels like, again, a lot of this mid lane matchup is going to be pretty crucial, especially when we've seen like PSG Talent and Saigon Buffalo when they're at their highest. It has been pretty influential from that mid lane.
Excuse me, why would you pick mid lane when you pick Ornn? Like, Ornn exists.
My bad. I mean, I should have listened to Hanabi, you know, I should have known that this was going to be the play.
78% win rate for Ornn. Hanabi obviously highlighting it when PSG took down G2 the first time, and now we'll see how Saigon Buffalo want to answer. You see already the Gwen banned away by PSG, didn't want that free attacking lane for him, and instead the Camille here for Hazmet.
Yeah, I mean, just a really good matchup into the top lane. You get good lockdown as well, so it can work out super well if you're trying to like play on towards something like the Graves, or even just trying to play through side lanes as well. But with the Ari locked in, it's not like you're going to end up with like a Galio or something to try and fish around that on the top side. So you're going to have to see if Froggy can actually get out and try and influence that top lane regardless.
And Shogun looking back towards that Tristan. You want a slightly mobile, at least, AD carry here. Kai'Sa does give you a bit of that mobility to dive the backline alongside the Camille. Could even team this up with something like a support Galio, something we haven't seen in a long time for that backline dive, or a Rakan or a Leona, anything to get on the backline. Even Rel does the same sort of thing. And Kai'Sa gets you away from the Ornn engage if you can manage to get those plasma procs going. Now, PSG looking towards their mid laner, as expected against this Ari.
But my biggest worry is, like, I know, look, you're probably going to go, okay, it's the Vex is the answer, but I mean, I feel like for PSG, you just ban away more of these junglers, right? You get rid of the Volibear, get rid of the Xin Zhao, and then you're like, well, how far are you going down this pool? Because, I mean, there's always like things like Diana, but you don't want the double AP, you know, that kind of stuff ends up being a bit messy. So I think you can kind of push BJ out of the equation here and just make sure he's really uncomfortable in this matchup.
Still a few options for him, but as you say, very difficult now with the Volibear being banned away for him to find something comfortable. Just looking over his most played, things like the Xin is next on the menu for him. The Hecarim a possibility, but that's really not in meta anymore. Perhaps something like the Trundle to deal with this Ornn, but the issue is you want someone that can really follow up the engage potential, the dive threat as well. So maybe the Xin, unless it gets banned out.
It could just be a Jarvan angle, but again, I think you lose out pretty heavily on the just on the jungle matchup, right? Like Graves is a great time there. So yeah, Xin Zhao now gone, and this is kind of where you're going, okay, maybe Jarvan. I could see something like a Kindred coming through, but I don't really think that fits with what Saigon Buffalo and how they want to play. So I'm really curious as to what the game plan is here for BJ.
He's not a huge AP jungle player either. I was thinking maybe something like the Diana or even a Lilia, but it's going to be an interesting one, and we'll have to wait and see where he goes through it. PSG here likely to pick their support, save their AD carry for us, or of course could go AD carry and then have the support counter pick, which
spicy.
Samira would be very spicy. Samira Renata is a very strong combination, but Tristana I think makes a little bit more sense for Unified. It's the flavor of the month here at MSI, and it will be locked in.
Yeah, Tristana just very strong. You can get a decent amount of push. You get the range advantage later on, which makes it a little bit more difficult for Kai'Sa. And even just having that buster shot to take her back out of the equation if she ever tries to ult in is pretty nice. But BJ looks like we're going on a very different angle here. The Rek'Sai hover, but yeah, I mean, Trundle, probably your best option here, and looks like it is going to be the case now. I mean, can work relatively okay in trying to like slow down the Graves, but Graves should still have an advantage in the matchup. And it feels like the Trundle, at least late game, is more about trying to steal those stats from the Ornn rather than kind of helping to lock down anyone in particular on the squad.
And an issue always is like, how do you get close enough to the Ornn to steal away his stats, right? If he's Call of the Forge Goding from a mile away, you have to wait for him to chase you. The Shen here for more dive potential, likely bringing out the Shen support. It's an interesting draft. It definitely has dive written all over it, but with the Trundle, it feels like it's kind of hampered a little bit. And then, of course, Shen support is not something we too commonly see.
But it's also not a great engage tool, right? Because you only have Camille right now, and the Shen is your engage tool. So, I mean, I suppose Ahri as well, but she's not exactly like dive. She's more of a follow-up. So it feels like when you've got this super tank in the front line with the Ornn, you've got like good peel as well in the Tristana for herself, Vex as well, having the ability to push people back and have her personal space. That's where I get a little bit worried about Saigon Buffalo. It feels like this is hey, we have to get the off the bat rolling very, very early, look for quick picks, and then hopefully we can take these fights instead.
Well, Froggy did an incredible job of finding early picks and consistent picks against RNG, and a lot of the weight on his shoulders you have to feel for this game. PSG have gone for a more traditional front-to-back team fighting draft. They have a strong mid jungle with the Vex and the Graves, and then a tank in the top lane and engage from the support. This is like, if you were to say, give me a quintessential team fighting comp, this would be it.
Give me quintessential PSG talent, and this is it, right? Like, you're always talking about these guys and how they love to play late game fights, play around neutrals. Like, they're one of the teams at the tournament, or one of the few teams at the tournament at least, that have like a negative goal difference of 14 on average. So I think definitely they're going to be playing for that style, and that's why I want to see if we get these early level 2 ganks from Trundle. I'd love to actually see these like super quick ganks into mid lane, try and burn some quick flashes on the Vex, and see if you can take over this game as quickly as possible as Saigon Buffalo.
Lots of pressure on Froggy's shoulders in the mid lane. We already heard the analysts talking about it. Shadow Froggy or Shut Down Froggy. Those are the two options for these two teams. Let's see if Saigon Buffalo or PSG are able to come out on top in this game. Big game for PSG as well. A win here ties them up, of course, with G2 tied 5th in the standings. And with them having a 2-0 head-to-head, if they did end up tied, or tied 4th technically, if they did end up tied with G2 at the end of tomorrow, PSG would take that spot. PSG would get 4th and G2 would end up going home in 5th. But still 3 games to go for both these teams. One of them, of course, starting now as we get on to Summoner's Rift.
And again, this is where I'm going to be keeping my eyes on towards BJ in the early stages. One of the things they're able to do is Trundle very well is like, oh, clear one camp, go for a quick level 2 gank in the mid lane. And oftentimes that's why you'll see like the mid laner try and like push and crash second wave rather than actually trying to crash the third wave. Just because of how much pressure you can get off of that play from Trundle. But speaking of pressure, Taki now getting a little sneaky in towards the PSG Talon jungle.
Something you can do on Shen, Rakan, jump, Gragas as well as a support, just jump over the wall, get a ward in, or even look for something. Hanabi here respecting the fact that he could be invaded and was just backing away, but that ward means that Juhan's early clear will be spotted by Saigon Buffalo.
Yeah, just trying to keep an eye on exactly where this Graves is going to go. Because, I mean, look, for PSG Talon, right, like, it is nice if you can get some ganks off in the early stages, but realistically, like, unless Hazma gets super far ahead, you know you're going to be able to rely on this like late game team fighting, and Hazma won't be too much of an issue in a side lane. But if Saigon Buffalo can actually get this Camille ahead, that's where I start to worry, right? Because then you got a Shen ult on top of the Camille. Suddenly you've a ton of opportunities to try and play side lanes really well as Saigon Buffalo. But we'll have to see how this early game is going to pan out.
Of course, it becomes hard for Triss to escape in teamfights as well if that happens. Camille obviously great in the side lane, as you say, can pressure the Ornn, but if teamfights do happen, she can just jump on the Tristana. It's like, well, you're locked in here with me. I'll put the cage down, make sure you can't escape, and have the follow-up of the rest of Saigon Buffalo. Hazmed and Hanabi just trading in the top lane there, kind of to be expected. The sort of the tax you pay for getting to lane when you help your jungler is a few auto attacks here or there. As Foggy chunked away by Bay there. Foggy down to about 100 HP, already through 2 corrupting potion stacks, has the biscuits as well, so can heal himself up a little bit, but Bay winning out the early trade.
Yeah, really nice early trade coming through from Bay, and should be able to get this push, actually get a good amount of damage down as well. Froggy really struggling in this lane. And this was actually like a matchup that myself and Eric were talking about a little bit. I think it was yesterday, actually. Just kind of going like, it's really interesting to see, because when you look at like Ahri in general, her Q cooldown is much shorter, her mana costs aren't as high, her damage is higher for being able to push the wave, but oftentimes the Vex ends up coming out on top, just being able to auto-attack the enemy down, getting that E and the fear off means you get good trades, and you can see Bay taking that full use here in this mid lane to push Froggy into, well, I was going to say in towards his tower, but hasn't quite crashed as BJ shows.
BJ with the red to blue and Gromp clear, hits the level 3, now looking for something. There's the pillar, Bay slowed it, flashes away, but the charm just wide. Bay with a good sidestep there. Means that he lives for today at least. Juhan coming in from the side as well. Maybe actually pinging for the Razorbeaks. You can see Kaiwing moving up as well. PSG trying to make a reactive play for the fact their mid laner had to burn Flash by bringing Kaiwing up and stealing away this camp.
And hang on, I was going to say Bay actually avoids a lot of the damage in that mid lane as well, which means that he's perfectly happy to go and actually crash this wave now. And Froggy, honestly, can't really stay underneath the tower with so many members of PSG missing.
That was a really nice grapple from Hazmed. Wall jumps into Hanabi as he's charging forward, knocks him out of the charge, then doesn't get knocked up himself, even uses the pillar that Hanabi has built for him. Yeah. A little present from the Ornn towards that top side. BJ, though, looking for another gank in the mid lane. Flash available for Froggy. Flash Charm a possibility. Pillar goes out. Flash forward. Charm. Flash away from Froggy. He's going to die to the minions, but Bay should fall here. Juhan trying to get in time, but can't get there close enough. BJ flashed in, but Juhan won't be able to chase him any further.
And that's exactly what I wanted to see from BJ, putting pressure in towards this mid lane, especially with Bay sticking around, no flash. Froggy did flash away just in case some of these spells from Bay connected, but I mean, it works out in the end.
It does, and Juhan not there in time to react. You can see Kaiwing trying to team up with his jungler quite a lot in this early game as well. As Taki and Shogun have been forced underneath the tower. Bay TP's back, as does Froggy. No flashes on either of them now. Bay with a slight 1v1 advantage, but the lane really hasn't been to 1v1 so far.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon either. Like, you can see the way BJ's playing this, right? He's going to go up towards his Raptors, probably try and look for a play mid.
Smart play hit from Kaiwing. D-mounted, flash away by Unified. Kaiwing looking for the slow. You're slowed, you then mount up, you get the flip, and then you can get the knock-up afterwards, but Taki able to dodge back forward and burn Unified's flash.
Yeah, just unfortunate Unified jumping in right as that end up missing and has to back away. But now we actually get BJ in the bot side. Now when there's no flash.
No flash on Unified. Good flash torn from Taki. Unified's going to try and jump away with the pillar. Will lock him in place. Shogun exhausted, but it's not going to matter too much. One more auto will be enough. Flash for it. Shogun takes the Kaiwing. Dashes back underneath the tower with a flash of his own. Saigon Buffalo have come to play today.
Yeah, starting to get a bit of a stampede going here. You get the play in mid, you get the, oh, hang on, no Hazard.
Oh, gets the adapted defenses just in time. Didn't quite get the E cancel out of the Hanabi knockup. We'll have to back away. Does have TP.
Should be able to get back up towards this lane. I actually saw Froggy starting to move up there. I wasn't sure if they were actually going to like go for a quick bit of a lane swap, but I think Hazard should be fine to just clear out these waves. And it's all going to be coming up trumps for Saigon Buffalo. Like, this is actually so good to see, because, I mean, look, just punishing the fact that Unified had instantly gone for that flash, and now you get the jump, but BJ just holds onto the pillar, sets up so nicely. And this was kind of what we're talking about, right? Like, you already had BJ in the area, he wanted to go for his Raptors, and was perfectly set up to go for the spot lane play.
And all because Unified had to flash away from Taki's initial taunt down towards that bottom side. Now Saigon Buffalo with a 700 gold lead, about 6 minutes in, lead in the bot lane, about even in the top lane, but that jungle advantage for BJ, even though he's behind in terms of experience, he's been everywhere on the map. Froggy, I think, just spotted Juhan dashing into that warded bush, and so he immediately backs away.
Yeah, you'd even had Taki start to move up as well. They were well aware of what was about to happen in this mid lane. Now Taki actually sneaking in here with BJ as well, but will now be spotted on the ward.
Who is on their way here? Kaiwing, not going to come across all the way, just clearing out wards of his own. Juhan here does have that serrated Dirk already complete on the Graves. Of course, Umbral Glaive, the item that we're seeing mostly. He has farmed up pretty well on this Graves, so he's in a strong position. He just hasn't really been as involved as BJ yet.
And that's the thing, right? Like, BJ knows he has to be the one that's getting involved. That's why you're seeing the big CS discrepancy. BJ is giving up CS so he can be in the right place at the right time to try and facilitate Saigon Buffalo getting these early leads. Now, PSG trying to set themselves up nicely as well, getting these early dragons, playing towards what will inevitably be their big win condition, which is these late game neutral objective fights.
for the moment, I'll be okay with the fact that it's relatively even. You can even see Unified going for Cull here on the Tristana. He knows that he's just in it for the long haul, farming up as much as he can. Hanabi going Warden's Mail first on the Ornn here. Sometimes you see the Barmy Cinder, but Warden's Mail into a matchup where you know you're going to get harassed by physical damage is a very good purchase.
I just want to see Saigon Buffalo trying to play a little bit more heavily towards Hazmat, like bring in a bit of that AP damage, because, I mean, Froggy actually has a decent amount of control here, with Taki consistently moving up, BJ being there as well. I mean, the Flash is about to come back from base, so, like, use the fact you've got this push now to see if you can look for some of these dives on the top lane, because Hazmat, I feel like, is going to be one of your big tools to try and win out in this game.
So how would you do that? Because the game is relatively slow, and I think PSG are happy doing that. Let's talk that through. If you were Saigon Buffalo here in this situation, what would you be planning? How would you be setting up to try and get Hazmat into a stronger position?
So one of the things I'm looking at is, like, bot lane has push here, right? So you start to move Taki in towards the mid lane. He'll be able to start to, yeah, I should actually draw this. You're right. I forgot.
So as if I set you up perfectly to try and draw. I will say, perhaps don't draw right now, because PSG are going to fight around this for a second.
I was so distracted by the different buttons.
I know, the buttons are great. It's true. Have you seen the emotes we have on it as well? You should have a look at those at some point. As Foggy looks for something here. Bay the first in the bush. Control of the river for PSG. BJ looking for the eye here. Enemy jumps forward. BJ just CC to death. Feared and destroyed by PSG. They'll take the Rift Herald.
So that is not how you want to try and set up for Hazmat to go well in the top side. Because I was looking at you like, oh yeah, you know, Taki is push, you can slowly move him up, it's all going to be great. But, I mean, PSG just kind of go, well, Taki is still bot side, so let's just go for this. Let's just make the play. And beautiful engage from Hanabi to set that one up.
Yeah, really well played by them. You could see, actually, Foggy went to catch wave in mid lane, and then Bay had first move into the river, meaning Foggy could never really get in because Bay could keep him at bay. Good one, that. And then because of that, BJ was just a little bit too greedy trying to get the Herald. It was one of those, perhaps you should have given it up, but when you've started the Herald, when you've got it down to 2,000, you kind of want to finish that off.
Yeah, it looks like, though, BJ just going to move up here to the top side. Not going to look for the gank, because that is a massive minion wave. But, again, like, this is kind of where we're seeing Saigon Buffalo fall apart a little bit, right? Like, oftentimes they have the idea of what they would like to do, but it's the initial setup that starts to fall apart for them. And unfortunately, there you can see, with Froggy not having control over mid, realistically, BJ shouldn't have tried to go for the Rift Herald. They should have waited for Taki to come up and help out Froggy to get mid prio, but that was just unfortunate there, where they just tried to bite off more than they could chew.
And for the moment, they are struggling a little bit to find avenues in this early game. They started off well, you know, had about 1,000 gold lead. PSG now have broken that back. They have an Ocean Drake to themselves as well. And one of the things about when you're trying to get ahead as an early game team, what you don't want to see on the enemy team is vision denial. And Juhan now has an Umbral Glaive already complete at 10 minutes in the game. Because when you're looking for picks, when you're looking to make catches with your charm, you want to know that you can deny as much vision as possible and you can get these wards into the enemy jungle. Here, Saigon Buffalo really can't do that too easily, because Juhan just does that and the ward is gone.
And yeah, that's why it gets so difficult to try and get control against the Graves. And again, why we've seen him kind of rise up and party. But I think the big thing here is, like, trying to get control over River is the most important part here for Saigon Buffalo. Because as long as you have control of that, it opens up Froggy to actually start moving up and down the river. Even just keeping, like, his tail in his own side of the jungle so he's not being spotted. But at the moment, you can already look, PSG talent, like, have that ward control there. So it makes it hard for Froggy to start to move.
But you can see Saigon Buffalo agree with you, because they have 5 oracles. I don't think I've ever seen that from a team in professional play. They really want to deny as much vision as possible. Now, BJ had worked his way down towards this bottom side. Stand United available for Taki. That's the Shen ultimate. That big shield could be impactful in making a 1v1 a 2v1. However, PSG moving up from the bottom side and looking for a play onto Froggy. Stand United, a possibility. Froggy able to back away. PSG will put the Rift Herald down in the mid lane. No way really to accompany it, so this will just be plates going over to Shuhan on that Graves. I don't think Bay got any autos in. Tower plates all go over to that Graves, and now a 700 gold lead for Shuhan in the jungle.
Yeah, and I mean, look, this is just super nice coming through from PSG talent, like, slowly but surely getting control, making sure they're keeping even with Saigon Buffalo. And I mean, with a Dragon now in 30 seconds, they should be able to get this quick reset off and try and fight it. But I mean, Juhan a little bit late on the reset, so this may just be Saigon getting the Cloud Dragon for themselves.
And that's the thing, if you're PSG, you know you have a team fight comp, you know you want to get to at least 1 item, probably 2, before you really start taking those 5v5s. If you can play safe and just give up this Dragon, that is very be good for you. Tower, though, possibilities coming, going in, TP, PSG, they don't want to play safe, they're looking for the kills. BJ flashes away, the Stand United keeps him shielded. Double TP burn at the corner of the Forge God is coming through as well. BJ sniped with the collateral damage, and Saigon Buffalo run for the hills.
And just great from PSG. I mean, look at the wave and top side. Hanabi knew he'd already got that shoved in. He's going to be able to TP back into the bot side, still get the reset and catch that wave in the top. And PSG playing out that map spectacularly there.
And here's me saying, oh, you can just wait, you just give up the Dragon PSG. You're like, nope, not today. We're going all in. Kaiwing with a flash engage, and that's something Rel is just so good at. Flash, Magnet Storm, so difficult to dodge. Fear comes out, Foggy does land the charm onto Bay. Still trying to get this minion wave under tower, will do so. Second Dragon of the game over to PSG, and a Hextech Drake next to spawn.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate for Saigon Buffalo there, like trying to bite off more than they could chew. Because as you're looking bot side, right, like you had the push there, you could have just retreated over towards the Dragon, but they thought, hey, we're going to get a bit greedy. We can grab the 2 kills under the tower and then get Dragon, but PSG just able to react spectacularly. And now, still seeing a lot of folks hovering around here as they will get mid push. I saw Taki moving up river and wasn't sure how aggressive we wanted to go, but...
Well, Foggy's got a very aggressive charm, flashed away there by Bay. Kraken Slayer is complete for Shogun, but even with that first kill, it hasn't really had as much effect in this game as perhaps he would have liked so far. PSG in a very strong position with 4 minutes on the next Dragon. They'll be happy just to wait this one out until they can fight around that neutral again.
Yeah, I mean, look, for PSG, telling you straight, you just do not care in the slightest. Yeah, because, I mean, look, here, Saigon, you could have just gone towards the Dragon. You already had Ari moving down, but Ari isn't there in time. So now BJ's forced to flash. The TP from Hasman, Hanabi knowing that Hasman's stuck underneath his tower. Juhan shows up nicely and says, thank you very much. I'll take some free gold.
See the Shadow Surge coming in as well. It's like, well, one of us going to get it.
Yeah, a race to the finish line, but... yeah, I mean, look, it's just Saigon Buffalo have tools that they could have used, but now you're starting to see, like, we're approaching the 14-minute mark, that the gold is still in favor of PSG, late game in favor of PSG, and the early emphasis on trying to get Hazmat ahead hasn't been there.
Bay no flash, remember, good taunt coming in. Juhan is here, but Bay cannot survive through this. Juhan with the collateral damage will force BJ away, but good fight there from Saigon Buffalo to manage to find a pick in the mid lane.
All right, so let's see what we can do now, because Froggy has presence in mid lane, could start to roam down to bot side, cover this dive, because Juhan, he's looking, and as you can see, look, Shogun backed off the wave, isn't able to actually stick around because he doesn't know where the PSG players are.
Yeah, it's smart from Shogun to back away, but you are losing waves, experience, gold to the tower, maybe even losing the tower. Tristana very good at taking it when her explosive shot gets up towards those higher levels. Now, Saigon Buffalo trying to answer with something in the mid lane. Juhan caught. Great charge in by Shogun, and Saigon Buffalo. Signs of life here from the Vietnamese representatives. They take back the gold lead and they wrest back control of this game.
Yeah, I mean, PSG will get the bot lane turret. You can get mid here. And honestly, like, look at the moves already. They're looking for the dive on top side. This is what I wanted to see from Saigon.
Starting to move all around the map. It feels like a switch has been flicked. The charm comes out, and Hanabi can be as tanky as you want. Ornn can be broken, but you won't be able to survive that. Saigon Buffalo now kills across the map, 1,000 gold lead. Hazmat in a strong position on this Camille. Divine Sundra complete. Kaiwing coming up here. Will just dash across the wall, but that might even actually be tower just for the Camille. She will get rid of that very quickly. Rift Herald will go down as well as Saigon Buffalo start at the tower. About a quarter of its health remaining, and Hazmat does not want to stay around any longer.
Yeah, but I mean, you've already got mid tower down, and this opens up so many more opportunities for Saigon Buffalo to make these sorts of plays, especially with the Rift Herald in their back pocket, right? You push up mid, start to rotate into sides, and chances are they'll try and move down towards the bot side just because Hazmat has so much control in this top lane.
You can see the ebb and the flow of the game just by the way the players are positioning. Saigon Buffalo went mid to top, then started to back away. PSG take that moment to step forward into this jungle on the top side, look to try and take a tower of their own. And after what was a patient early game from PSG, they have been brought to life a little bit, or brought to death by the recent plays by Saigon Buffalo. Sitting though, still in an okay position. You know, a minute on the Dragon, you are only about 300 gold behind. You have your first item complete on Unified, you have the Sunfire Cape complete on Hanabi. You're gonna have all your ultimates for this fight as well. PSG, if they can find a good fight, should still be able to win out the full 5v5, but if they get picked off like this again, a little bit tricky for them.
Yeah, Kaiwing on bot side here, but look, this is what I wanted to point out is like we got a minute until the Dragon. You've already got push coming in the bot side of the map. If I can get this freehand draw, then the bot side of the map, you get the push in mid as well. You can use the Rift Out to threaten the tier 2, and then if you don't, even Hazmat is still going to get this wave in the top side as well to get that top tower. So either way, you're going to get the top tower. You should have the TP up in just a moment for Hazmat as well, so he can join in on the Dragon fight. So it's still Saigon Buffalo in a good spot map-wise to make sure they can get control.
And you feel they kind of have to take this fight around the Dragon. Now, in good positions items-wise, Shogun has the Kraken Slayer Phantom Dancer. PSG looking to catch someone from Saigon out. Now, there's a ward here that Froggy will spot. Taki immediately jumped up by PSG. They were lying in wait, but Taki so tanky. Froggy coming in from the side. Taki will fall first. BJ looking for the damage onto Unify. Kaiwing pulls the stopwatch. BJ in the middle of them as Unify jumps away. Hanabi down towards the bottom as the TP comes in. Killer Instinct onto Kaiwing. Shogun should be able to take out one. Hazmat with the chase doesn't land. The knockup will bring the Hextech ultimatum down. Hazmat falls as well. Bay will go down. Shogun, Bay survives. Shogun gets one more though. Unified sacrificed himself for Bay. Hanabi will die as well. Saigon Buffalo stampede over PSG.
Brilliant play from Saigon Buffalo, and that's what we're talking about. They had the map pressure that they wanted to make the play, and PSG Talon tried to catch them out before that TP from Hazmat was available, but Saigon, they not only get the tier 2, they get the inhibitor turret, and now they get to fall back nicely for that Dragon that we were all fighting for earlier on.
And Shogun in this fight, just correct position at the correct time. It's PSG that look to make the play.
And that's the thing, right? You've got Hazmat pushing top side, so like, look, we can find this fight, but Unified plays this really well. Does wait until the Trundle Pillar comes down before he flashes, but he jumps, but he ends up taking so much damage. He's now out of the equation. Froggy going forward forces the Jew hand flash, which means that as Hazmat goes in, you've no escape tools left for the PSG line.
Bay almost falls. Unified's like, maybe we can turn this, not quite. And then Hanabi comes back, but not really much you can do as an Ornn in that sort of situation when you're caught out by 3. Saigon Buffalo now 3,000 gold ahead. Take the Dragon as well, which means that stacking Drake for PSG is no longer an option. They need to keep finding fights like that, though. Even though PSG initiated that, Saigon Buffalo cannot let the pace of this game fall down.
And this is where I really want to see Saigon Buffalo like trying to play with Hazmat, right? Nerdy has his second item completed, which means he's in a really good spot. So I think your best way to start trying to make this happen is like pushing in mid, always threatening the dive with Hazmat and trying to get control over this topside jungle. If you can get that and start like teetering in and out of Fog of War, it makes it really hard for Hanabi or even Bay to try and play safe in a side lane against this Camille dive.
For the moment though, PSG the ones trying to get river control first. Hanabi obviously very tanky on this Ornn, but all the tankiness in the world can just be subjugated by BJ in fights, and if you're the last man standing as Ornn, there's not too much you can do in those sorts of situations. PSG trying to catch Hazmat as he clears out a wave towards the top side. No flash.
Is there, though.
Shenno, as you say, is a possibility. PSG decide they need to defend mid lane instead. The rest of Saigon Buffalo, though, looking for perhaps a flank position here, Dagda.
Yeah, but this is what we're talking about, right? Like, you push in mid, get control of topside jungle, and... oh, wait a second.
So you go for it. BJ forward, Kaiwing with the stun. BJ a little bit too far forward, and they get the CC. Corner of the portrait coming down as well as Taki tries to get away. Hazmat not there yet, but he dives onto Unified on the backline. Unified dashing forward onto Shogun. Unified still alive. Froggy and Hazmat now dashing towards the enemy base. Can they survive? Can they win this 3v5? Taki from the side looking for another taunt. Froggy, the charm just wide. All of PSG on a knife's edge. Teetering between life and death. One will fall. Froggy with another Spirit Rush could go forward. Saigon Buffalo might lick their wounds and retreat, but they might go further in if they see an opportunity. PSG retreat, and they win out on the fight in the end.
It is a 2-for-1, but unfortunately, Saigon Buffalo just sitting on that ward. They do get a good amount of vision control in this topside jungle, which is what they were fighting for, but PSG desperately trying to find those windows where they can claw their way back into control of this game.
It's so hard to find them. You can see here, this is good vision control. Taki and BJ push up a little bit too far without vision of their own. And they're just caught out.
I mean, a bit late just here for Saigon Buffalo, right? The mid-wave dive, PSG gets to come across, Hazmat isn't in position, but even with that, right, Hazmat does a great job of getting a ton of damage on towards Unified, so he's now got to play this fight incredibly safe. Froggy is in a fantastic position with Taki consistently pressuring the backline, so no one from PSG can really walk up, and oh, that miss from Froggy could have...
Saigon Buffalo just started the Baron here. This 2000 is gone. What a great call from the VCS representatives. Managed to sneak away the Baron under PSG's noses. I wonder if PSG just weren't expecting that to happen. Now, 4,000 gold ahead for Saigon Buffalo. They're in a strong position here, Doctor.
But where's the Saigon Buffalo been?
Yep.
Now that they're eliminated, I'm like, guys, this could have been the story of you for MSI. This is the threatening team that we saw coming in from the group stage. And finally, we're getting to see what the VCS is capable of in the Rumble stage.
Sometimes when the expectation is off, it becomes the easiest to play your game, and we're seeing that. Vietnam have always been a region to be feared at international competition, often picking up wins against major region teams. Froggy, the charm just short, just wide. Spirit Rush used now. Baron pushing in the top lane though, and Saigon Buffalo continue their advance, continue to march forward. This will be the tower charm wide once again. Hanabi Call of the Forge God, an option for him. Do you go for the re-engage? PSG have given up their tier 2. And Saigon Buffalo are happy with just that.
Yeah, they're missing out on the mid wave though, which has crashed in onto the inhibitor, so PSG going to back away. They don't want to try and take a fight which they could potentially lose, and that could actually spell the end of the game. Dragon in 50 seconds though. Honestly, I think for PSG Talon, just trying to get your waves back in control, wait until this third item is completed for Unified is your best bet, because Saigon Buffalo right now are firing on all cylinders.
Third item for Unified is a long way away, Dag. He's sitting on a quick cloak. Doesn't have any other part of that expected Infinity Edge. Now, it will be very strong. When he gets to that 3 item on Tristana, he is an incredibly powerful carry, but I don't know if Saigon Buffalo are willing to let him wait.
Well, that's the thing. My biggest worry is that for PSG, if they try and take this fight, they end up losing it, or even if they don't, right, you don't get control of your wave. Saigon Buffalo get to use this Baron buff really efficiently, as, you know, Saigon thinking of going for this fight, but yeah, it's just so difficult to try and go for a flank here.
Yeah, Bay's been waiting for a long time. BJ has to flash away. The Everfrost from Bay would have locked him up. Bay was waiting behind enemy lines for a while.
And here's the thing, right? Saigon...
TP. Saigon Buffalo, they won the fight, Dagda. They're calling for it. Counter TP coming in as Hazmed is the first to join the fight. Foggy going forward, looking for the charm. Hazmed diving onto the back line. The taunt comes in with Taki on the chase. Kaiwing forced away as well, and Unified is low. Jumps to safety, but Hanabi has no such luxury. He will fall first. Foggy misses the charm, but Shogun does not miss the kill onto Kaiwing. Saigon Buffalo advance.
Saigon Buffalo have done it. They're able to get this Baron buff. They've got the creeps at PSG. Who's left to try and make the hero play?
Bay, Unified, and Zhuhan, the 3 remaining members of PSG, and they have taken out one. BJ tanking up the tower. The cannon minion won't do that. And because of that, Foggy, Foggy, you should have taken the Hex Gate, my man. That was not the way to go. You ever played Fogger as a kid? He just jumped in front of one of the cars.
Yeah, he never made it across the road, but I mean, you've got PSG Talon who are now crossing their jungle, looking for this dragon. Saigon Buffalo are trying to burst it down, but PSG Talon are on the way.
Only second dragon of the game for Saigon Buffalo. Bay TP'd in, wasn't able to find anything, doesn't have the Shadow Surge right now. We'll spot out the fact that Hazmed is here, but Hazmed can just jump the wall. Even with that fear, he'll be able to retreat safely. 24 minutes in, Saigon Buffalo inhibitor down in the mid lane. They've taken a Nexus Tower as well. They have a 5,000 gold lead, and today they have come out fighting.
Yeah, I mean, here for Saigon, right, you get this fantastic fight. Hazmed tries to get the flash into the middle of Ever to stun them, but just can't quite get Unified with a fantastic flash from the Tristana, but it doesn't really matter. Taki, following in the submarine, manages to pick off the Trist, and then Saigon Buffalo are able to just continue forcing their way through PSG, but I mean, 3 of their carries still available. PSG Talon are able to turn this back around as Saigon advance.
And do get the first Nexus Tower. Taki oversteps a little bit. Graves damage is pretty disgusting in this sort of situation. You look for the taunt. Zhuhan was able to dodge away. Now, Saigon Buffalo looking for Hanabi.
Hanabi.
That's a great pillar as well. Hanabi forced to flash away. The damage from Shogun is absurd, but he takes up 3 tower shots. The tower will be forfeit as Hanabi has to retreat to the fountain to heal up. Has the Call of the Forge God though. Maybe they'll look for a re-engage here. Shadow Surge, a possibility.
It's BJ's ult down and Shogun's ult down, so maybe PSG Talon can do something because Hazmat is going to threaten the base here. Hanabi en route.
Walking in the minions has that Hex Gate, of course, alongside the wall jump. So he can escape pretty easily. Saigon Buffalo, 10 seconds before this wave hits the bottom side. Down to 5 now, and this is where PSG really have to find their last offensive. Saigon decide to push in. Instead, they back out. Hazmed, Hazmed just used his wall jump. All right, he's going to be able to walk underneath the tower. There's a possibility there that Hanabi maybe looked for a Call of the Forge God, knowing that Hazmed has no flash, and you have the Hex Gates for the wraparound chase.
God, this would be absolutely incredible, though. If Saigon Buffalo are able to take down PSG Talon, NA fans going to be absolutely delighted that they managed to put a little bit more distance between themselves and PSG Talon. But You gotta wonder now, can Saigon close this one out? It's been a rough Rumble stage for the Buffaloes, but I mean, the game here against RNG now looking good against PSG Talon. It feels like, as you said, pressure off, and Saigon Buffaloes look great.
As you say, EG fans, NA fans very happy, G2 fans the same. Remember, if they tied with PSG, they lose that head-to-head, they would be eliminated without an extra game played. Saigon Buffalo doing favors for the Western regions here if they can manage to pick up this win. But PSG continue their defense. The super minions in the mid lane will only push for another 2 minutes. I say only 2 minutes is a long time, especially with a Baron and a Dragon spawning within it. PSG trying to get control of their own jungle. Kaiwing clears out a ward. There's another ward there, though, that I don't think PSG are aware of. So Froggy knows that Kaiwing is here.
I mean, Hasmed pushing into the bot side as well, threatening the inhibitor turret. I mean, as long as you can kind of keep control of this area, you can look for quick picks, and PSG trying to brute force their way in, knowing that Hasmed is going to be threatening that inhibitor turret in just a moment.
It's one moment of stillness before the drop. One breath before the abyss as PSG step forward. Hanabi has TP, as does Hasmed. They're pushing in the bottom lane. Baron started by Saigon Buffalo. Perhaps a moment between them and their first win here at MSI. The TP's coming in. Froggy looking for the flash time, lands it onto Shuhan. Hasmed diving into the back line as well, and Shuhan's already dead. Froggy, what a day this man is having. He lands the charm, and perhaps he lands the victory bell for Saigon Buffalo. PSG corralled to their death. Kaiwing escapes, Bay taunted, and Saigon Buffalo will not stand without a win.
Saigon Buffalo now marching towards the base. They've done it. Froggy's Ari has been impeccable today. And just like that, PSG Talon are routed.
For the glory of the VCS, they weren't the best, but today they rise above. Saigon Buffalo claim their first win at MSI.
What an incredible game from Saigon Buffalo. As you say, paying back brother Yankos, making sure that they can get him across the line. And with as well, Evil Geniuses breathing a sigh of relief. The VCS cries out, what a absolutely banger performance from the VCS.
Huge game from Saigon Buffalo. Incredible performance. Obviously their first game of the Rumble stage. They did win games in the group stage. But yes, as you say, G2 very happy with this. PSG now looking at having to close out tomorrow with a couple of wins if they are going to be able to make it to that Rumble stage. It has been a day of topsy-turvy League of Legends, and these 5 players on your screen have been at the heart of it, almost taking down the reigning MSI champs earlier today, and then beating PSG with a composition that perhaps wasn't as strong in the full 5v5 later on in the game. They just found pick after pick after pick, and Froggy, what a day for this man.
I mean, himself and BJ both having absolutely incredible performances. Like we talked about in the early stages, what we needed to see from Saigon Buffalo. Now, it took a little bit of time to get rolling, but BJ getting the early ganks mid, making sure that you can punish that Vex, who's not able to get away from that.
Mark Ruffalo overjoyed. Look at that man.
Amazing.
Too happy.
But oh my